Hated producer.
Dream, the harder you grind, the bigger you dream. The harder you grind, the bigger you dream. I said the harder you grind, the bigger you dream. I said you're up and I'm up. Y'all now tuned in to the Grind Dream Big Show. Harder you grind, bigger you dream. I got a special guest in the building. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, my name is Chloe, as some of my friends and close family may know, but I also go as Chloe the Show.
Okay, Chloe the Show.
Chloe the Show.
Okay. So, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. Like the weather is changing. It's getting warm outside, so it puts me in a good mood when the weather is nice. So I'm doing really good.
Yes, the sun is shining, so should you, right?
Yes.
I feel like that is definitely important. Okay. So, coming up, the inner child, that you, right?
Yes.
What were some of your hobbies? Like, where'd you go to school? Where were you born? Where were you raised?
So it's kind of like, what's your name?
Yeah.
If anybody remembers that you from the DMV, you know what I'm talking about. So I went to Henry E. Lackey in Charles County, and I grew up in the Fort Washington area. What else? So it's kind of like about me, right?
Yeah.
So my inner child, my hobbies, I'm kind of a gamer. I was more so a gamer back in the day, but now I just watch video games, so that's still kind of something that I do. I like to draw a little bit, sing when nobody was listening, or even I was in church heavy. So I was also in the church choir. I was an only child, so anything that I could really get into, I would get into to keep myself occupied. Yeah.
That's all right. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I'm not going to lie. You said Charles County?
Yes, and
Okay.
I lived in PG County.
Okay. So, like, is there any difference there?
Not really. I think it's more so of a melting pot when it comes to the area. You have like those who are more southern, I guess you could say, in like the rural areas with all the trees and everything. And then, you have your, I won't say inner city, but it's just like your suburban area where, not so much trees. And
Right.
then, the people are different.
Right, for sure.
So it was just a mixture. I got a little bit of both. I'll say, African-American culture, white
Right.
people culture. So it's just like I got a little bit of everything. Yeah.
White people culture.
Yeah. So I was very observant. I'm kind of the type to kind of sit back and kind of like observe everybody.
Right.
So yeah, there were some differences, but it was, I'm a neutral person, so I was just cool with mostly everybody.
That's all right. Because I know, like, being in Prince George's County, that was more so me.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, went to Charles Herbert Flowers High School, proud alum. And then, of course, Bowie State University, which was Bowie. So I think that's how we connected, right? So I know that, we had a video editing class together, and I was just like, okay, cool, calm, collective, like, didn't really speak to that many people. Just
And it's not that I was mean.
Right. I looked at it like, okay, in the same class, like, hello, how are you? Oh, okay, I'll just speak when I want to speak.
Okay.
But I'm like, okay, and then I'm like, all right, well then it transitioned. I'm like, okay, well, she's DJing now? She's doing this now? Like, what else is she doing?
Yeah, I do a lot. And trying to focus on just one thing, it becomes hard because I'm so much of a fluid person to where I can naturally just flow to anything and learn it as long as I keep my mind to it. So just focusing on one thing and having so many things that you like is hard.
For sure. So, like, is there one thing that you learned from the class, per se?
I mean, I guess so, because, I help people edit post-production, pre-production of their videos because I'm also a videographer. So
okay.
I did take some stuff from that class, and every time I edit a video, I'm like, thank you, Bowie State. Thank you.
For sure. Because I'm about to say, like, I didn't even know what it was because I felt like you being a woman of many hats, I was like, okay, so does she want to edit? Does she want to have a radio show? Does she want to, like, be a co-host? Does she, like, why,
Yeah, I was all over the place. I mean, I think I was put on here on this earth to help people. And because my love for entertainment and just making people, like, I've been in customer service a long time. Like, my first job was Build-A-Bear. So I was always entertaining, people to make them feel good, to make them feel happy. So I'm just like, what can I do and in the entertainment, business to put the skills that I have or I know to help others.
For sure.
So trying to put myself in every little category, you know, in order to help the masses is what I really want to do. Like, I'm trying to be like a future Issa Rae. Shout out to Issa Rae.
Oh, yeah, nah, for sure. She definitely got a dope show in Insecure. She's a, you know, definitely
awkward black girl.
Phenomenal business owner. Phenomenal, for sure. No, I get that. I get that. And I kind of feel that vibe, too, in a sense. So, like, being at Bowie State, like, what did you learn in college, I guess?
What did I learn in college?
Like, what did you learn in college, or what was it like, wow, okay, like, this is what this is really about?
I don't know, because it's just like, for me, it was just like going back to school. Like, I really didn't put that much thought into like, ooh, how is this different? Like, I lived on campus. I mean, that was different because I was always at home for the, you know, majority of my life. So it's just like being somewhere other than in the house with my parents was different. I had a little bit more freedom. So differently, honestly, I can't say there was anything that I was expecting to be like, oh my gosh, like, this is out of the norm. I was just going with the flow. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, that's neat. I've never seen that before. Oh, this is cool. So, and I do love that community aspect of college, especially going to a HBCU.
Right.
And you see Black culture every day, and everybody's doing something funny, smart. Yeah. Like, it's just, I love to see it because I'm a people observer. So I love to watch people and be like, wow. Like, oh my gosh, like, and just to see everybody come together, you know, especially like I always appreciate it when it was winter outside and it's like nobody's outside.
Right.
And then when it transitions into like the spring or
everybody outside.
And then it's like everybody's outside throwing a football, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's talking, everybody's like, I'm not going to class. We're outside. Yeah, that was the main thing. So it was really good to see that. And I just love to see our people happy for real. Yeah, and in our natural environment, like, ain't no other feeling like it.
No, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I know Bowie State, for me, I mean, commuting back and forth, it was still cool. I felt like, you know, seeing people on the yard from, you know, fraternities, sororities doing their things, even the talent shows, you know, Bowie has so much talent. You could get a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying? You can find you somebody that raps, somebody that sing, somebody that do comedy, somebody that shoot videos, like.
The DMV is a very creative area. And I tell people that all the time, like, oh my gosh, the creative community in the DMV, I just love it. Like, it's because I don't want to say it's so small because there are a lot of people who I probably haven't met yet, but it's just like people who I've met who know other people, who know other people.
Right.
And it's just like, yo, I didn't think that I would meet you to know them, and then I've already known them, and now I know you guys know each other. It's just like, and then I just love the creative energy of like, especially my friends, all my friends. I love them. Like, they're all creative, and I love seeing them in their natural habitat.
Yeah, you want to be in your natural element.
When it comes to create. And I love that they invite me. Like, I might be chilling at home, and I have a friend and be like, oh, you trying to go to the studio? And I'm just like, you know it, just to watch them and see them in their creative process and just see the finishing product of it and be like, man, I sat there for that whole session. How they built this from beginning to end, and this is the final. Oh my gosh!
Right, you was there to actually see the process, see the grass, see the footwork, and everything that it took to, you know, basically make the product. The product. So with that, right, I think that the biggest thing for me that I didn't do a lot of was the networking part. I felt like on the tail end, like after graduation, it's like, all right, bet. I'm a network. And it's like, man, I wish I should have networked back then just to make some more connections and stuff. So, like, how is networking for you?
Network is hard for me because, one, I might not come off, but sometimes I can be a shy person. Like, sometimes I'll be like, I don't want to bother them, or I don't want to ask too many questions. Like, and I've run into people where, you know, I would naturally be like, you know, I'm not afraid to be a student because I'm a professor to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So you're learning every day.
For sure.
Every day, which is why you will forever be a student. So I have no problem going to one of my friends or somebody who knows more than me and saying, hey, how do you do this? So that way I can gain that knowledge, and that way I can be a professor to somebody else and say, hey, this is what somebody else taught me. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So it's like I have no problem being, and I've run into people who will just be like, you know, just no. Or you got to figure it out. Like, this is what, and it's just like, what's wrong with being a coach or a teacher? Or I can understand that some people may not be able to do it as easily as others and teach them that.
Right.
But it's still like, at least you tried. At least you could pass down something. Right. At least you helped. If it was just a sentence, I'd be like, man, they did say that. That really stuck with me. You don't know what might stick with somebody.
For sure.
So,
for sure. I agree. I think that, you know, like for me, I know from, you know, doing like music and then getting into this space is like different because like a lot of people are like, okay, like what's next? But I feel like the pandemic really was a blessing in disguise. It really just told everybody, like, all right, but everybody sitting down. Like, everybody chilling. And I had to really look at this reinvention part where it's like, okay, what is it that you really want to do? Where do you feel like your purpose is going to really, like, guide you? So I just really had to have that conversation, like, God, what is it that you want me to do?
Because it was like we were really going day by day, every day for years.
Right.
For years. So this finally gave us a chance to sit to ourselves, kind of plan out things. You know how many people I met who were like, oh, yeah, I know how to do hair. Oh, when'd you learn? Over the pandemic. And it's just like, there's a lot of things that came out during the pandemic where I sometimes think, what if there wasn't a pandemic? Would we have these same things? What would today look like if we did not have that pandemic? Would we have some of the music that we had today? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like some artists were just like, dang, it's a pandemic. We in the house. We might as well drop, you know, what we got in the vault. You know what I'm saying? Sure. And so it's just like, wow, like where would we really be? Would we have progressed as much as we did? Because I think we progressed during the pandemic. Just if just by a little bit. But yeah, where would we be?
That's a good question. I think everything would probably, like, it'd probably be regularly scheduled programming. People probably wouldn't. We probably have less business owners, less motivation. Everybody probably look at it like it's whatever.
Yeah,
you know what
I mean, there's definitely a lot of pros to cons when it came to the pandemic, though, because there was a lot of businesses that closed down that were historic, you know, to this area that unfortunately closed down. And I always hope that they come back, you know what I'm saying? They full-fledged, you know, so yeah, that's the only thing. There are some pros and cons, but after all,
but it affected us in a different way where we just had to really like people that didn't watch the news, like really watch the news. Like I wasn't really big on news until Obama became president, because I was like, okay, I had to see somebody that looked like me first, or whatever. Like, but then I looked at it like, okay, every single day it's an update. Okay, this, that, and the third. I'm like, all this fear projection, like, stop it, please. Like, you're gonna make me throw my remote at the TV. Like, stop.
And so it was getting confusing.
It was getting confusing. It was getting annoying. So I just think that it made everybody like stand stagnant. And I'm like, why is everybody so stagnant? Like, we still have to move. We still have to dream. We still have to execute. We still have to do these things. So it's like, yo, where's that motivation at? So I felt like, okay, I'm going to fill that void. I'm going to take on this responsibility. Let me go ahead and create a platform not only for myself, but for others, a community to inform, entertain, and educate people, because we need it. Like, the way that we watch news, like, no knock to, like, the CNN, the Fox 5, the MSNBC, but, like, nobody wants to necessarily, people want to find outlets and platforms where they feel like, okay, cool, like, that person or whatever is said, I can relate to this. So the relatability and the originality, I saw the lack of. And I was like, all right, I got to go ahead and do something.
No, yeah, that's definitely true. And then there's a lot of news that will cover up a lot of information because for whatever reason, it's not for the betterment of us. I mean, you can say, excuse me, you know, oh, we don't want to cause a panic. People panic every day. And it don't matter if you tell them information or not. They're going to search it on social media, or Google, and Google can always give you wrong information. I don't care what they tell you. The internet is not always right, but yeah, it was the people that we had trusted to tell us this correct information, you know, was getting it confused, getting us confused, and it just wasn't a good feeling. But
nah, I agree, and like it's crazy because, you know, social media, right? I feel like it's so wicked. It's wicked now. It's like, yo, like. I mean, for me, I watch the news, but then I go to social media and I'm like, all right, well, I'm just looking at the tale of two different lives. And I'm like, I don't want to live a different life on this and then live a separate life on this. So I just feel like it has to make sense. Like the math has to add up.
You can't let social media consume you because people out here be faking. And they will make you think that, oh, this is what it's supposed to be like. This is, everybody got their own journey. That's just theirs, and that's just a glimpse of it that you're seeing right now. You don't know what other paths or what other walkways or alleyways they had to go through to get to that moment that you're seeing on social media right now. And not saying they can't be proud of that moment, but you just can't always look at somebody else's story and think yours is supposed to be written the same way.
Nah, I agree 100%. I think that, you know, even with it though, like in our generation, it's, like I said, pros and cons because of how people are using it. And I just see it being affected, and it's crushing our youth. It's crushing our youth. It's discouraging them. It's leading them down a wrong path where they're, you know, even us as adults, compare contrast, whatever we try to do, right? So many things, and we look at somebody else's version of success. We look at somebody else's life, and we kind of emulate, copy and paste,
right?
And we're like, that's not even us for real, like,
right?
What we doing,
right?
So it really like is confusing. So what do you think is like the influence behind that, and what are some steps you think that we need to take to really ensure that our mental is good?
I don't know. I feel like a lot of things can be influential. You know, music, video games, movies, your friends, your family. You know, which eyes open, you're influenced by things all the time. You know what I'm saying? Sure. You're feeding, or you're not feeding, but you're taking in whatever is being given to you, that stimulus. So it's hard to really say that we will not be influenced. It just takes a strong willpower to not let that overcome you. But I will say that, you know, just doing things little by little in order to strengthen your mentality to know that's not who I have to be. That's not, like, just knowing yourself, like knowing, okay, I don't got to do that in order to, you know, be X, Y, and Z. Like, I know myself to the point where if that's something that I truly want to do, I have to do it on my own. That's something that I chose to do, not because I saw, you know, Shirley, you know, doing it on social media, you know what I'm saying? You know, and then there are also good influences, though. Like, there's good influences to where it's like, oh, I saw, you know, this couple, or I saw this lady or man go to this place, travel to this place. I want to do that. I saw them do it. They look like, now that's good stimulus to where it's like, okay, that's something that's benefiting to my life. That's something that's making me want to progress and see different sights, you know,
right?
Do something with, I don't say do something with your life, because traveling, you don't have to, but, you know, just open your eyes to a different environment and taking on new things, so that way you have a well-rounded perspective of the world and cultures, and, you know, just elevating yourself in that way if that's what you feel you have to do to elevate.
For sure. No, I agree. So I think that, you know, like the work that you're doing in this creative space is like, okay, so you really, really want to put on not only for yourself, but you want to put on for other people, because you really want to see people win. So one thing I could definitely say about you is you were like very genuine. You know
Thank you.
And then on top of that, it's just like the energy that you give and put out into the universe. Like, you want good, so you put out good. You know, you want people to compliment, so you give people compliments. You know, so I'm big on the energy part. Like, you are what you entertain, that attracts. So I feel like that's also good, and you treat others how you want to be treated.
Of course, that was a thing growing up. Treat others the way you want to be treated, even if, you know, they act this way or they do that. That doesn't really put a definition on who I am as a person. I can't make you see me for who I know I am. You got to figure that out for yourself. So.
For sure. And like, I think another thing that's important is like emotional intelligence. And I know that's very deep.
That's very important.
Because it's like, I think we both, like I said, me being a man, you being a woman, like, we deal with emotions. We all have the same emotions. We just deal with it in different ways. So just like positive coping mechanisms is very, very important. And understanding people. So it's like, what are the things, or, you know, your younger self had struggled with, and you're like, okay, you know what, I probably still struggle with, but it's not that much of a struggle anymore, if that makes sense.
I can definitely say, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people can say this, that I'm a different person than I was years ago, like even 3-4 years ago. And growing up, you know, as an only child, I feel like is very different in a sense, because I didn't have any siblings to kind of like talk to or look up to. Like, I really had to create a family out of the family that I have, of course, but friends too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I really had to pick and choose carefully who my friends are, and learning who was going to be there for truly me, or who was going to be there because of, you know, the energy that I give. Because, you know, there are people out here that will feed off your energy and not return it back. And that's something that I still deal with today, because I love to give everyone a chance, or try to give everyone a chance. But there's sometimes, you know, that intuition tell you, you're not going to want to be with them for too long. Or you might not want to, but you want to give them that chance. You don't want to off bucks just be like, oh, I don't know if I can hang out with them, without even trying. Right. But definitely do not ignore your intuition. If you strongly feel that there's a situation that's not right with a person, definitely go the other way. But I still have my moments where I have befriended people or tried to hold on to people who I probably shouldn't have held on to. And that's something that I'm still learning, but it gets easier and it gets better every day, because it's just like, I'm not doing that again, because I've been there and I'm not doing that again. So just growing up and learning, I guess, boundaries.
Yes.
that's pretty much what it is, just setting boundaries and knowing what your boundaries are. And like I said, I'm somewhat of a people pleaser, which is something else I'm trying to get over. So setting boundaries can be hard, especially when it's like I'm just such an open person.
Right.
Like, come on, bring in the love. Like, we don't have to argue, we don't have to fight. And I'm big on communication.
Right, for sure.
So it's just like, and that's something else I'm learning. I sometimes don't communicate the right way, even though I feel like because I'm communicating,
right.
I'm doing something to better the situation, and sometimes it's not because it's how I say it. So I'm learning that too.
Yeah.
So it's just like all those put together is still a journey, but I'm definitely progressed from what I did as a child, a teenager, even as a young adult. So
right. I think for me, it's just like, as a child, I was more so like holding all the emotions, like holding everything. Mm-hmm. Now it's just like, as an adult, it's like being more vulnerable and vocal about it, but just being more direct and indirect. So it's like communication is the biggest part, because if you're not communicating, that's one. And then just like you said, the boundaries, I think that's also big for me too, because it's like, you know, you give your energy to a lot of people may not give you that same energy back, but you have to not expect you from other people.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm learning.
Ooh, that's another thing. Trying to like, I always say to my friends, I wouldn't do that to them, and they'd be like, Chloe, but not everybody like you. And you're like, I'm like, God, you know what? They're not.
Right.
They're not like me, and it's a shame. No, I'm kidding. But it's just like, man, like, yeah, that's true. And you can't expect, you know, how your mama taught you how to somebody else's mama, because they might have raised them differently.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's what I'm saying. I think that's the biggest thing. So once I realized that and really like owned on to that and really stopped feeling guilty for apologizing. Because I found myself apologizing.
I still do that.
For some odd reason. I'm like, okay, why am I apologizing for moving the way I want to move?
Right.
Like, what is it that I'm feeling guilty about?
Right.
Nothing. I shouldn't be.
And I think, too, a lot of people are very sensitive. And even though they don't want to say they are, but if you're afraid of moving a certain way because, you know, and then you apologize for it, and it's like, what am I apologizing for? That's because a lot of people are sensitive, and you don't know what may set a person off nowadays.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? You could accidentally bump them, and it'd be like, hey, what you said?
Yeah.
And it's just like, hey, yo, chill out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it don't got to be all that. So it's like that, too, which I understand, like, you just trying to move, you know, the right way. But just like you try not to cross their boundary, they shouldn't cross yours either.
Yeah. Nah, I agree. What's understood don't need to be explained, for sure. Let's just leave it at that. Yeah, I think that's very, very important. And I think, you know, like I said, even with the generational gap and what we're seeing a lot of lack of guidance, you know, in our youth, or, you know, lack of opportunities for our youth. So creating those opportunities as well, because it's like the things that we learned, you know, sometimes we are unlearning. And like you said earlier, like being in student mode. I feel like even as adults, you still need to be in student mode.
Of
like
course.
You still have to do those things. And like, even though you graduate school, don't forget your principles. Don't forget your morals and what you stand on.
Right. Don't act like nobody can't tell you anything, even though, you know, you're still learning. Like, they may be telling you just to pass on some information. Everybody's always passing on information, whether good or bad, you're still learning. So, you know, that's why life is a learning experience. For
sure. Yeah, an experience is the best teacher. So you into this music, right? I feel like you have a favorite genre of music, though. I think you do.
I like all music, but there is a go-to. I do have my go-tos.
Okay.
So my go-tos are, and see, I'm learning not to categorize them, but I love R&B.
Okay.
Especially the 90s.
Okay.
90s R&B, neo-soul, alternative. I pretty much, I'll get into some country. I got a few country songs, you know, that I listen to that I like. Techno, dubstep, like, just, you know, when you get that little hairs on you, it gives you that good feeling. That's usually what my playlist is.
Okay, because I'm about to say like Jersey Club. Yeah, okay.
I like remixes. I love remixes. I love when people put a spin on, you know, songs that have already been out there. Like they take, like now on like TikTok, how they be remixing all these songs, and I be getting it. I be like, oh, who is this? Yeah. And I listen to it, and it's just, I love it.
Yeah, and then it's like, I think with the apps, some of the apps are just keeping us younger. Like TikTok is just like, okay, in 30 seconds, go ahead and wow the world. Go ahead, just wow the world. And it's just like from a challenge or whatever it is, and you're learning so much information. And I think the attention span, it resonates and it registers so much, and that's why the apps are flourishing so much, you know, with it. So it's just like, yeah.
And I love to see the younger generation dancing to like the songs we used to listen to like in middle school or like high school, because it's like, what y'all know about that? But I see you.
Because they remix it. I know, like, it's even like, what was it, like the Before I Let Go with Frankie Beverly and Maze, right? That was the original one. Then you have the Beyonce one. And it's like, okay, you know what? I like the Beyonce one, but I'm like, before Beyonce, it was Frankie Beverly and Maze.
Right.
So it's just like, okay, but no, I like that one, but because that's the one that they can get down with.
Right.
That's the one that they can resonate with. So it's like.
And then they do this one, I think it's SWV Rain. Sometimes it's soft. So it's just like that. And they remixed that one and they put like a little subtle beat to it. And I was like, okay, like this fire.
Yeah, I think they did a joint for, I think it was I don't know the rapper's name, but like it was a rapper and he took Mary J. Blige's sample. It was like the My Everything sample, but he just rapped over it. And I'm just like, yeah, they know the beat. They're sitting there just like dancing to it and everything like that. I'm like, y'all don't even know where that sample came from.
They don't. And that's another thing. Like, as a DJ, I love putting people on to like what the sample was. Like, it's like, because back at Bowie, so I think DJ really started for me like back at Bowie when I would go to like the step shows and stuff. And there was this one step show where it was the New Edition movie had came out. And they used every song that was in the movie. They didn't even, try to go to the albums and say, okay, what other songs can we put people onto that didn't come from, like, we know, all this stuff, like, let's put them onto something different. And I was just like, bro, everybody used the same song, just in different placements of their act. And I was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, okay, something need to happen. So then, I started having DJ friends. I actually got my first turntable in 2013 of high school, before I even got to Bowie.
That's what's
2013, I bought it, and I stopped using it because I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I got to Bowie, met some friends. Shout out Jeff Too Funny. Yeah. DJ Cash, shout out to you. Like, I met some dope people who also DJ'd, and just watching them and just like, because I'm a visual learner. So I have to actually like sit and watch you and listen to how you do it and see where your fingers are when you do the transitions and things like that. So, watching them and just growing up around, a lot of music and being able to remix songs in my head as a kid, like listening like to The Quiet Storm. And I'd be like, okay, this kind of sounds like something else. And then just kind of remix those songs in my head. So that's how I think it all started for me.
Yeah, that's what's up. And, like I said, being at Bowie, like, yeah, Jeff was definitely doing his thing. I know Freeze was up there doing his thing too. Cash, definitely for sure. Like, yeah, I'm proud of them.
Very.
Yeah, it's, like I said, so much talent from Bowie State. Too much. I know Kyle's doing his thing too.
Oh, yes. Kyle on the mic.
Yeah, Kyle on the mic. He be hitting the vocals too.
He do.
For sure. He definitely do. So it's just like so much that goes on. So I think now, right, with it, do you see yourself doing festivals? Like, I can definitely see you doing some festivals.
Hell yeah. I can see myself doing festivals. I would love to do festivals. I would love to be a tour DJ for, like, I always talk about how I want to be like Chloe Bailey's tour DJ, because it'd be like, okay, Chloe the show to DJ, and then Chloe Bailey, oh shit. Like, stuff like that just really excites me for some reason. Like, things like that, cool little things like that. So, yeah, I would definitely be an event DJ. I'd definitely be a tour DJ. Yeah, I would do that for sure.
So what does self-care look like for you, though? Because, like, you creating and just putting all this, into this, and then to that, then to this, then to that.
Sleep, honestly. I love me some sleep. Like, I love taking me little naps here and there. But self-care really for me, too, is just being, like, so I like taking walks out into the city. Like I said, I'm a people watcher, so I just like to be in that element of, ooh, it's warm outside. There are people out. There might be somebody playing a live band, on the street or something. Like, just taking in those moments and just making those nostalgic moments for me. So that way, when I am in a low place or whatever, and I hear this song again, or I feel this weather again, it's just like, ooh, I remember it was a good time, when it was back then. So just holding on to good memories, holding on to nostalgia, even though sometimes nostalgic things can be not too good, because it's like you hold on to things that you should probably let go of. But at the same time, I feel like those little moments that you truly were happy, hold on to those.
For sure.
So that way, in your lowest moments, you can remember, dang, like, I was doing all right. Like, I was good, and I'm going to be okay. Like, we're going to get back to that point.
For sure. Nah, I agree 100%. I think that, self-care for me, I like to read, taking a walk outside without the phone. What else? Probably watching, like, my favorite movie or something like that. You know, something like that, because you got to find ways to unwind and detach.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And revamp and recharge.
Yeah, being on YouTube.
Yeah.
Watching horror. I like horror movies. I like horror video games. So I really watch a lot of that. Like Stranger Things just came out, and I'm excited because I started that yesterday. It's like an hour and something long, and I'm ready to binge watch all of it. So okay, I am ready for that.
So I mean, I'm not really hip to the show like that. I just know that it's a lot, very, very popular. It was coming through people's feeds, people tweeting about it and everything like that. So I guess I'm gonna go ahead and check it out, but I'm gonna have to go ahead and double back. So that's okay. I'll just catch up with everybody.
No, it's fine. Yeah, because it definitely starts out slow. I think that's why a lot of people really couldn't get into it, because it starts off slow. But I like shows like that because it's like, they started off as children actors, and to watch them grow through the show and get older, I find that so fascinating. Like, oh my gosh, like y'all been through the show from season 1 when it premiered back in like what, 20, what? Not want to say 2010, maybe 2013, 14, something like that. And then now we're here in 2022, and y'all are older. Like, these are the actors of, you know, the future. You know what I'm saying? And to say, oh, we saw them when they started off on Stranger Things, and now they're doing everything, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think it's pretty cool to watch that evolution of
I'm more into like the Power universe. I'm more into the what else did they have out there? I mean, I remember On My Block, but before On My Block, which I'm trying to tell, you know, young as now, it was Degrassi. And then, things like that. That's what I'm saying.
Top Boy.
Yeah, that's who. I'm into stuff like that. I like the action. Like, I like the suspense and the action. So that's just more me. I could watch SVU every now and then.
Oh yeah, you can.
Old stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Living Single, Fresh Prince. That's
Fresh
what I
Prince, too. Bel Air, the new Bel Air, I like that.
I haven't seen it yet. I heard it's really good though.
I think to me, it's a tale of two. You're gonna enjoy it, but I feel like it's more dramatic. So yeah,
it did. When I saw the clip of it, it did look more cinematic. And that's why I was kind of like, I'll hold off on. I'm still trying to hold on to the Fresh Prince that I know.
That, and you got Martin.
Yeah, Martin.
I can still watch those shows.
The Wayans brothers.
Yeah, Wayans brothers. What else? I mean, Wild 'N Out is still one of those for us, I think. Yeah. In our generation, is definitely cool. So,
but they don't know about the old MTV days, the old VH1 days. You know what I'm saying?
They don't. All they know is the Netflix and whatever they have, and streamers and YouTubers and things like that. I'm not trying to bash nobody. I'm just saying.
Just like, it's just a different time now.
It is. Like, they're about to watch people as opposed to getting active now.
Yeah, and we used to go to school talk about some Bad Girls Club. Like, we used to talk about all that, and it was a fun time.
Yeah, it was a good time. For sure. How things have changed and how adaptation is real. So what do you think is like some disconnects like with the generations? Like, why do you feel like it's kind of hard for, you know, I guess, for us to like communicate to the younger or even the older?
One, I feel like everybody is trying to be in this "you can't tell me what to do" mode. So that's kind of like the part I was talking about, where it's like people aren't open to being a student. So nobody wants to take in information and try to adjust to how it fits their lifestyle and how it fits them, because not everything gonna work for you. You know what I'm saying? So that, on top of there's just a separation between generations. Like, honestly, this whole millennial thing, Gen X thing, it gets on my nerves, because it's like, come on, guys, we're just generations apart who's learned different things, and you know, now we're not, especially the older generation, aren't open to what we know or the younger generation knows, and we could teach them some things, because I know some older folk who don't know Microsoft, and it's like Microsoft was out around when I was born, so you had enough time to, you know, get it the lesson learned. But just little things like that, or just like knowledgeable things that happen in the world that we try to talk to them about, and they're like, no, you're wrong, or, you know, we didn't used to do this back, and just not being open to it. Nobody's open.
I agree.
And that comes with emotional intelligence. Like, you got to be emotional intelligent, I think, to be open to take in what somebody is telling you, and like I said, adjust to how it fits your lifestyle, or just take it and with a grain of salt and keep it pushing. Don't bash how they might think. And I'm still learning that. Like, sometimes people will say stuff to me, or I'll see something out in the world, and I'll be like, but why? But, you know, what may not make sense to me makes sense to them. And I can't bash them for it. But if there's a place where I can say, hey, would you like suggestions, or like, you know, are you open to me telling you, or, you know, showing you my way, or whatever the case may be, then that's something that I'll do. But I'm really just much of an observer. And that's how I learn. Sometimes I don't have to ask.
Yeah, you don't gotta say nothing. You gotta listen more than you speak, or just see what it is for real. So I mean, I feel you on the observant part, because that's how I kind of am too. Like, you know what I'm saying, energy always travels, but it never lies. So that's the type, person I am when I look at things like that. So I mean, for me, I just think, like you said, I think it's the lack of respect, for one. And then just them being open to it. Like, you have to be coachable. You have to, listen and be willing to have a conversation, be willing to actually put somebody on. Because I think in our culture, it's like, okay, well, yeah, I got to the top. And it's like, oh, yeah, I'm trying to get to the top too. I ain't going to show you, figure it out.
Right.
Like, why I got to be like that,
Gatekeeping, man. Stop it. Stop gatekeeping. Nobody's trying to take what you've learned and what you've built on. We just trying to make a living for ourselves too. Like, and you just got to be careful and mindful who you tell these things, because I know there are some people who will jock your stuff. Like, it happens to everybody. Shein be jocking everybody's stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you just got to be mindful of what you do, because you're influential.
Right.
When you're an influencer, people are gonna take your stuff. Energy is fluid, so your idea is gonna flow to somebody else, and then you just, I don't know. I'm just not about the gatekeeping. I'm willing to teach somebody who can say, oh, yeah, I remember Chloe the Show taught me this. And I'm like, and you're doing great, sweetie. You're doing great. For sure. I'm
about to say, so talk about Only Vibes, because I know you had that situation.
Cool. Yeah, that was a surprise to me, because as me learning how to DJ and me just putting my stuff out there just for the enjoyment of putting it out there and seeing what people like to hear and stuff like that, I wasn't expecting, a DM saying, hey, do you want to be on Only Vibes? And I was just like, I just started like 3 months ago. What you mean be on Only Vibes? So I was a little hesitant to respond, but in 2021, I just made it a mission to just go out there and do it. Like, not even think about it. Say, if this is an opportunity, if this is where your life is going to take you, don't miss this opportunity. Like, because if I didn't take it, I don't know what would have happened. I probably would have not taken some more, because I didn't put my foot out there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that I did. Of course, I was nervous, because, like I said, I be trying to play the right stuff for the right people. But as a DJ and trying to, I guess, change how music is heard, I want to put people on instead of putting people onto stuff they already know.
Right.
I was on Twitter one day, and DJ Bree Mafia's tweet came up that said she was at an event, and the event organizer, whoever was in charge of the event, was just like, yo, DJ, we don't know this song. Like, you got to play something. This is too new. Da-da-da-da. And she was just thinking to herself, like, this ain't a sing-along. Like, I'm here to put you guys on to stuff. And that has always stuck with me, because, yeah, you would like to go to a party or whatever and hear some of the stuff that you would normally listen to. But to put you on to somebody different, somebody new, that's a whole new thing, because that listening to one new person branches off into other people who you might discover is great. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to be that DJ for real who puts you on the stuff that you already listen to back, that's on the radio, that's already mainstream. No, my thing is getting people who are black sheep, who have a voice, who aren't that heard because, they aren't mainstream, and putting them on the forefront like, hey, here's some new talent, some refreshing new talent that may sound like somebody you've heard before, but they do it differently.
For sure. So who inspires you in the DJ game, though? Like, or not even in the DJ game, or as a creator? Like, you look at, oh my gosh, I love doing what I do, but like, oh my gosh, your work is such inspirational. Like, I'm gonna keep going.
So that's the crazy thing. As a DJ, I really didn't have a favorite. Like, it was just something that popped in my head and was like, you want to do this? I'm like, okay, I do want to do this. And I didn't really, I don't really have any, I guess, inspirations when it comes to DJing, because everybody does their stuff differently, and there's a lot of different things that I hear that I like.
Okay.
I can't say, Jeff, he inspires me. Cash inspires me, you know what I'm saying? Because I see them do their thing all the time. And as a woman in a male-dominated area, that feels great. You know what I'm saying? To be like, man, like, I'm out here doing something that's normally male-dominated. And I didn't think that I would be that good, because, everybody hears things differently.
Right, for sure.
So what I may hear, somebody else may not hear, but at least I'm doing something that I enjoy, and playing music, which is what I love to do for other people, so that they have a good time. So I can say that my friends and just musicians, period, creatives in general, just inspire me, because I can look at somebody create a painting and say, I want to make a playlist to that painting. You know what I'm saying? It just all circles back around. So I have many influences in my life, starting with my family. Shout out to April Vista. I love them. Great music, alternative. They are a very big inspiration. They're driven. So I love what they do. Listening to music, Janet Jackson was also a big influence of mine. Brandy. Like I said, The Quiet Storm was just a very big part of my life as well. Listening to that every night. My mom, Anita Baker, Frankie Beverly and Mays, Mesa. Listening to artists like those. So I just have a little bit of everything everywhere.
Sound like you got old soul though.
I do.
That's all right though.
I do.
You know, we ain't beefing though. You ain't put Mary J on there. You ain't
but there's so that's why
it's too many, right?
It's so many artists. Like when people say, who do you listen to? All these names start popping in my head.
And it's you just don't want to forget nobody, so you like, I just listen to a lot of people.
Yeah, and then it's like some people like, did you listen to such and such's new album? And I may have only heard it once, and I'm not saying that means that it was bad.
Right.
It's just that there's so many artists that I go through that it's hard to just focus on one. And sometimes I'll be sitting in my room like, Chloe, you just need to make a list of like 5 artists and just listen to all their stuff back to back for a week and do that. And then it's like, but no, because I want to be versatile. Like I want to listen to different people. So it's hard. It's definitely hard.
Nah, I agree. Well, you keep on doing what you do. Because I ain't going to lie. It's hard. It is hard as a creative because I think we just all want to be heard. We all want to be respected. And we just want to be like recognized for, what we do. And like I said, for you, one, the energy you gave at Bowie, for one, I just always felt like, okay, I salute that. Definitely, like I said, as a communications major, definitely had to put more love on that one too. Being at the HBCU, being a soul sister that you are, and taking on this responsibility in a male-dominated area, I feel like, female DJs don't get the love and respect that they deserve because, like I said, once again, it's not just, okay, I'm a female, she DJ. Oh, she can't DJ. What you talking about? But the fact that you stuck with it and are continuing to do it and just, venturing off into different things. I just hope that you continue to thrive.
Thank you.
For being the person that you are and the talent that you have, for sure.
Yeah, man. Trust the ladies with the ox. We know what we talking about sometimes. We don't always be trying to cause drama.
Yeah, when they talk, fellas, just sit back and listen. I think that's the biggest thing sometimes. Even though it can be hard for us, I can speak to that because it's like pride and ego can be a factor, but you got to also just, play the back. You
too, women, like just sometimes sit and listen to him. Sometimes he just want to talk. And you just got to sit there and just listen.
That's all it be sometimes. So what's some motivation that you would give to anybody watching this, a youth or anybody, even us, like as people in general, like if we feel derailed, we feel discouraged, like, oh my gosh, my dreams can't happen, like this can't happen. Like, what would you tell people?
I would say, for one, there's nothing wrong with procrastination because when I found that the longer I took to do something, the better ideas I had. There have definitely been projects where I were like, ooh, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I'll start on it for a good, week. Then later I'll stop. My train derails, I don't know how to go forth. I don't know what to do. But the longer I took sitting and thinking about, how to go back to it, I came up with better ideas than I had the first time of how to go about it. So sometimes you need to give yourself that break. Don't feel like a creator. You have to go 24/7 all day, every day and go hard. I mean, if that's for you, do it. If you feel like that's how you progress and that's how you come out 100% every time, do it. I want that for you. I want the best for you. But also, do not tire yourself out. Do not overwhelm yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, with social media, you may see that people may look like they going at it every day. No, it's probably they recorded or did something all in 2 days and just did a lot of it that day, and now they sitting back editing it. Don't feel like you have to rush. You don't have to rush. You are on your own lane, your own track. And if somebody pass you up, just say, I hope they get to where they going soon. You know what I'm saying? So just don't feel like you have to rush your progression. As well as, have fun. Always have fun with what you're doing, because when you stop having fun, you stop remembering who you're doing it for.
That's
you know
big.
What I'm saying? You stop remember who you're doing it for. And I'm not saying don't do it because you want to speak to your audience, because what I'm doing, I want to speak to my audience. I want people to enjoy what I do because I enjoy what I do. And I'm hoping that it kind of, people look at me and be like, dang, she enjoys it. That makes me want to do it. Or that makes me want to start what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Not for the fact that because other people like it. It's because I like it. It's just a +1 that you guys also like it or other people like it. So never stop having fun. Because once you lose the fun out of it, it starts to feel like work. And then that's when you start being like, I don't want to do this no more. It's too much. This, that. Because not everybody has that drive, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Not everybody can go hard at it for so long. Like, sometimes you need to take a break, and that's a good thing. So that's another thing. Just have fun. Don't feel bad for procrastinating, because better ideas can come from that.